The Bronze Age was a time of flourishing civilizations. Egypt, Mycenae, and the Hittites ruled a connected, thriving world. But in just a few decades, this world crumbled, cities burned, empires vanished, and a dark age began. What caused this catastrophic collapse? Climate change, invasions, or something far more mysterious? To uncover the mystery, we must first understand the world of the Bronze Age. 3 millennia ago, mighty civilizations like Egypt, Mycenae, and the Hittites ruled an interconnected ancient world. The Bronze Age was fueled by bronze, an alloy of copper and tin that revolutionized tools, weapons, and art. Trade routes stretched across the Mediterranean, linking cities through the exchange of goods and ideas. The Hittites controlled vital trade routes, connecting the Mediterranean with the Near East's rich resources. Egypt's dominance was unmatched, its wealth built on the fertile Nile and thriving trade networks. Mycenaean Greece thrived with its palaces, art, and seafaring prowess that spanned the Aegean. Luxuries like gold, ivory, and exotic spices enriched these empires, symbolizing their vast wealth. The interconnectedness of these civilizations created both prosperity and dependency. Advanced technologies, from irrigation systems to monumental architecture, defined this golden age. The world seemed unshakable, yet this prosperity rested on fragile foundations. The rise of empires brought stability, but also made them vulnerable to shared disasters. As the Bronze Age reached its peak, signs of trouble began to emerge, threatening its fragile balance. The golden age of prosperity would soon collapse, plunging the world into chaos and darkness. By the 13th century B.C.E., cracks began to appear in the seemingly unshakable civilizations of the Bronze Age. Climate change disrupted agriculture, bringing prolonged droughts and widespread famine. Earthquakes struck without warning, devastating major cities and disrupting trade routes. Internal rebellions further weakened empires as citizens turned against rulers in desperate times. The mysterious sea peoples began their relentless raids, leaving cities in flames and ruins. Cities like Ugarit sent desperate pleas for help. Enemies are attacking, but no one came to their aid. Trade routes collapsed as merchants faced danger on land and sea, cutting off vital resources. The scarcity of resources ignited conflicts as kingdoms fought to control dwindling supplies. The interconnectedness that once brought prosperity now spread instability and collapse like wildfire. Even mighty Egypt, the beacon of the Bronze Age, faced invasions and internal turmoil. Once thriving cities became ghost towns, their streets silent and their walls crumbling. The age of prosperity had ended, and a dark age was beginning, shrouded in mystery and silence. The unraveling of the Bronze Age set the stage for one of history's greatest mysteries, its sudden collapse. Between 1200 and 1150 BCE, the ancient world fell into chaos as city after city crumbled into ruins. The mighty Hittite Empire disappeared, its grand cities abandoned and its power extinguished. In Greece, the palaces of the Mycenaeans were destroyed, plunging the region into centuries of darkness. Ugarit, a vital trading hub, sent desperate pleas for help, but it was too late to save the city. The sea peoples swept across the Mediterranean, destroying cities and destabilizing entire regions. Famine spread as crops failed and trade routes collapsed, leaving populations struggling to survive. Political instability and rebellion weakened kingdoms, making them easy prey for invaders. Even Egypt, though surviving, was scarred by invasions and internal strife during this tumultuous era. The interconnected trade that once brought prosperity now spread disaster like a chain reaction. Writing systems vanished, and knowledge was lost as literacy declined across the ancient world. Without cities or trade, populations dwindled, and the great empires of the Bronze Age faded into history. The Bronze Age ended not with a bang, but with centuries of silence and forgotten glory. What caused this unprecedented collapse? historians and archaeologists are still searching for answers. Historians and archaeologists have long debated the causes of the Bronze Age collapse. One theory points to climate change, with years of drought destabilizing agriculture and economies. Earthquakes may have played a role, as seismic activity shook the foundations of major cities. The invasion of the Sea Peoples remains one of the most debated aspects of the collapse. Internal rebellions and civil unrest further weakened empires already stretched to their limits. Some suggest a systems collapse, when interdependence between trade, politics and agriculture failed all at once. With trade disrupted, the supply of vital resources like tin and copper ground to a halt. Drought and famine likely caused mass migrations, displacing people and sparking violent conflicts. The once mighty empires may have been weakened by their own size, unable to adapt to sudden changes. The collapse may have been caused by a perfect storm, an unstoppable combination of disasters. The truth may never be fully known, but the evidence paints a picture of widespread turmoil. While the reasons remain uncertain, the Bronze Age collapse reshaped the ancient world forever. Out of the ruins of the Bronze Age, a new world began to emerge, the dawn of the Iron Age. The collapse of the Bronze Age left a void, plunging the ancient world into a dark age of survival. With trade routes disrupted, cities could no longer rely on the resources that had sustained them. Entire regions experienced a population decline as famine and conflict took their toll. Knowledge was lost as literacy declined, and advanced technologies disappeared for centuries. Yet, out of this darkness, new societies emerged, laying the foundation for the Iron Age. In Greece, the collapse of Mycenaean palaces paved the way for city-states like Athens and Sparta. In the Near East, new powers like the Assyrians and Babylonians rose from the ruins of fallen empires. The Phoenicians thrived, creating vast maritime networks and spreading their influence across the Mediterranean. Egypt, though weakened, survived the chaos and entered a new chapter under the rule of the New Kingdom. New trade routes formed as societies adapted, connecting regions once isolated by the collapse. The lessons of the Bronze Age collapse echo through history, reminding us of the fragility of interconnected societies. From the ashes of the Bronze Age, humanity rebuilt, paving the way for the great civilizations yet to come. The Bronze Age collapse holds timeless lessons about resilience, adaptation, and the fragility of civilizations. The Bronze Age collapse was a stark reminder of how interconnected civilizations can fail together. Today, our globalized world mirrors the interconnectedness of the ancient Bronze Age. Like then, we are vulnerable to disruptions, natural disasters, resource scarcity, and political instability. Climate change was a key factor in the collapse, and it remains one of humanity's greatest challenges today. The loss of knowledge during the collapse highlights the importance of preserving our intellectual heritage. The collapse teaches us the need for resilience, adapting to change, and rebuilding stronger systems. Technological advancement can save us, but only if paired with cooperation and foresight. The fall of powerful empires shows how even the strongest societies can fail without unity and foresight. Trade dependencies in the Bronze Age collapse mirror today's supply chain vulnerabilities. The resilience of civilizations like Egypt shows the power of preparation and adaptation. The Bronze Age collapse was not just a story of destruction, but of resilience and renewal. Its lessons remind us to prepare, adapt, and work together to ensure our future doesn't repeat the mistakes of the past.